Doing something for the first time is wild. And when you think of the outdoors, it's inherently wild. I think the most important thing for me is sharing an activity, sharing what I love with people that have not experienced that or have some kind of barrier related to it. The magic of being able to create that bond, that connection with an activity, a person, a place, that's special.
Well, welcome in, peeps. Another episode of Sincerely Yours Outdoors. It's your boy Marcus here with the broski, sitting on top of Pittsburgh. We are at Frank Curto Park. This is technically the south end? Yeah? That it is south
Yes.
end? Yeah? We're gonna go with south end. If not, you can correct me. But looking over Strip District, Terminal Market, all that.
Downtown.
Living the best life.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. How you feeling, D?
I'm feeling good. I feel like for those people that aren't native Pittsburghers or don't live in Pittsburgh, haven't had experiences here, I feel like we've covered, of course, not all of them, not comprehensively, but we've given a lot of good snapshots of Pittsburgh, kind of behind the scenes from assets that we have. Seeing the different ways in which you can interpret the skyline here, which, of course, being at field day at one point in time, being here now, just being able to highlight and broadcast the region here in our city, which is really, really cool to see. So hope that's been capturing people's attention as they view the episodes. But overarchingly, I feel good. I feel
Good.
really energized being at the space that we're at now.
For sure. And that's a soft nudge too. If you have not seen our video content, hop on over to the Sincerely Yours Outdoors YouTube page. You will see all of our guests live and in person, and you get to see a new environment. Like Derrick said, we're in a very interesting spot today. Frank Curto Park. I was introduced to this space through Mike Varlotta, who spoke a lot to me around urban climbing initiatives, obviously Elisa's dad. So I was able to stop by here and see some of the Climb Pittsburgh initiatives around revitalizing and reusing urban infrastructure as a public climbing amenity. So I'm just happy to be here and see, people kind of doing some access and conservation work on the site right now, but being able to see what the future may hold in terms of urban recreation, which is always exciting when it comes to seeing the next generation kind of access something 100% free with stewards and people that care the most about them. So I'm always happy to be in this space, but thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah,
that's important.
No doubt.
So.
And I want to jump back to the video component. Of course, it's implied. We talk about it quite a bit within all of our episodes, but it's really novel that we're doing it and traveling and showing up to people in the places that they feel most connected to. But I think it really humanizes the work. Yes, look at and listen to the episode on the platforms of Spotify, iTunes, you name it, kind of thing. But I think seeing the video component, seeing the faces of people, seeing the backdrops of people, really further humanizes and creates connection to see what you look like and what I look like and what all of the other 15, 16 guests that we've had to this point look like to create that, I think, further creates opportunity for connection.
For sure.
For us, to someone, to a space, which I think has really been cool. So I just want to highlight that to say, just as you mentioned and reiterate it, go look at the content that we have on YouTube, on our Instagram. Check it out. It sounds like I'm shamelessly plugging that, but there's no shame in doing that. So
For sure.
check it out. Yeah.
It's what we love. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, to open it up, how you been, man? I know I see you probably more than anyone else in the world, but
Yeah.
how are things? What you been listening, vibing to? What's going on in your world as we reconnect?
I've been great. You know, I feel like the fall season's really hitting us finally, which has been great. Fall's my favorite season. So really just spending a lot of time and intentionally, I would say, over this past season. I mean, frankly, since we started this cast has really been creating opportunity for me to be intentional, with my time, which I feel like I've really been leaning into, which has been great to see connection, community that's been created as a result. But yeah, I'm great. I would say like restful would be how I feel with my spirit at this very moment in time. Excited for the upcoming season, excited for all things that we're further stewarding, spending a lot of time like digging into relationship, as well. We're creating so many through this avenue and this podcast, but also like pre-existing relationships as well, and really being intentional and thoughtful with that as well. So I feel great at this point in time.
Recreational stuff. I know some new things are popping up on your avenues in terms of recreation.
Yeah,
What you been up to?
yeah, just running, cycling.
Yeah.
Same old in that space. Gearing up for ski season,
Yeah.
which we're both super excited about.
Around the corner, man.
Gearing up for that, buying far too much ski apparel, ski equipment, but things of that nature. Outside of that, it's like perfect running weather at this point in time. And inevitably, this is like the peak season of events for many people, given that time as it relates to weather. So this next 6 weeks is kind of just like running time more largely with events for me. But that's largely what I'm recreating to. A lot of like music that I've been digging into as well.
What you got for us? Give us a tea.
Well, I mean, of course, Yachty.
Oh yeah.
Like the little starter pack that he provided was good.
I mean, how about that Tesla?
Yeah. It still hits. What else am I listening to? I'm listening to Leon Thomas.
Okay.
You listen to the Leon Thomas album?
I've not. No.
Gold. R&B. Also listening to Leon Bridges, like folk.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, the space is like great. Like right now, I'm listening to a lot of that folk, R&B, centric indie type of centric listen there. Those are the ones of note outside of just the typical spins.
Yeah.
Frank,
Yeah.
SZA,
For sure.
all of the above there. So yeah, nothing really new of note outside of that.
Dope.
What like hits? What album you got number one this year,
Right.
or of note that I would plug
I mean,
if I were you? I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Go ahead, say it. Say it.
Do you know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, it'd be Killer Mike, the Michael album. I think it's a phenomenal album. I think growing up in the South, I think it culminates our experience around connections with like some kind of higher being, facilitating that through music, but also painting a picture that I feel is as transparent and as real as possible without having to visibly see it. You're experiencing Michael's life from an auditory standpoint that I think is just immaculate, man. It's an amazing album. Couldn't recommend more. Wouldn't say, not a hot take, but I wouldn't say it rivals like a Kendrick feel, but it's like it takes a lot for you to consume it and sit down and like
There he goes.
and live.
There he goes.
Really back in. Again, you can cut that how you want. I didn't say it is Kendrick-esque, but it is a very, very heavy album. So
I'll give you a take though that I feel like is really appropriate. I would equate the Mike album to Equanimous with
out.
Outkast.
Oh no.
I don't know. Outkast, like, I was listening to Outkast the other day, which I listen to all the
The
time.
Art of Storytelling Part 1 and 2.
But I was listening to Equanimous, and I was like, I
Elevators?
feel like I'm in Atlanta. And I
can
feel
see
like
that.
I'm like tied to Southern folk, like
Yeah.
cornbread, collard greens, church on Sunday,
Yeah.
gator shoes.
Give me all that.
Like I felt like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I listen to Mike, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel
deep.
that like profile at
Yeah.
that very moment in time. So I would say like just the way I interpret it makes me feel that way. So it's not the actual product, but just like how I interpret that.
For sure.
How are you feeling? Of course, back from travel. Do you want to give
Things are good.
the
man.
listeners the lowdown on what you consume, what you've been doing, and how you're feeling at this stage, coming up off the heels of return back to the Berg?
Man, things are good. Pulled up in Denver last week, from Monday through Saturday, technically. Landed here in Pittsburgh, and here we are on set. Man, Denver was great. Traveling is a luxury, man. Like I'm super grateful for the opportunity to do all the travel that I've done and plan to do in Q3 and Q4. Man, things have been amazing for me personally. I'm just like blessed to be able to experience all of this. So I want to just send that gratitude and abundance to external viewers and people that are just like looking for somewhere to go, something to do. But Denver was great. Connected with, our brother, what we consider like a family member while out there. Was able to see Evan Gill, one of the previous episode guests, and climb 2 14ers with him. Do some
Your first two, right?
First 2 14ers, Grays and Torres Peak. I climbed those with Evan's guidance. Amazing person, individual that guided me through the entire experience from start to finish, which was awesome. Took a ton of photos that I feel like I'm just gonna be able to reference back for the rest of my life. I think I'm still that individual that tries to consume as much stuff as possible in hopes that I can pass them on to my kids or like a future kid, future family members, in hopes that would inspire them to go and do the same thing. So yeah, still live the postcard theory and like practice everything that I did over 5 days. I recorded, mailed back home in hopes again that I can put it in the chest and the kid can tap into it, maybe when I'm a spirit and have inspiration to climb those 2 14ers, maybe on the same day that I climbed them.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that was really great. I think I continue to learn more about myself in silence, which has been amazing. Even referencing back, it's constantly running in my head while I was just like sitting and basking in the environment was what Brother Lloyd said. Like the ability to feel is important.
Yeah.
Like whenever I can't feel anymore, there's something wrong. And being in that natural space in silence, like tracking elk or going and seeing all these mountain ranges, climbing 14s, man, like at the peak of those moments, man, it was so emotional for me to sit and feel that presence again, which can't beat it, man. It's a feeling that I really hope everyone in their life at some point can feel that, understand that, and can chase that every single day. So special.
Yeah.
But in totality, I am very well. I am very well. I am full. I can't wait for my next travels. Like, life cannot be better than what it is right now.
Nice. What I was gonna ask you, how, well, of course we've chatted offline, but I was gonna ask you how it felt, the first 14er.
Yeah.
Because that's like monumental itself. To accomplish it at any point in time.
Yeah.
But given your tenure, I would say within being outdoors and recreating, like, how did it feel? You've been in this game as a consumer for a long time. We both have. Mm-hmm. So to still be doing things for the first time is like,
for sure,
cool in itself. So how did it feel in that in that sense? You kind of alluded to it, but
Yeah.
I'll let you like flesh it out.
Yeah, I mean, just to flush it out more openly, like you said, it's extremely profound in the moment that I'm in to experience something for the first time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've done everything at least once, and I
Yeah.
think that's the moniker that I try to live by. Is like I want to experience everything once. Every recreational activity I might not be a pro or extremely proficient in, but I've done it once.
Yeah.
Just to provide my experience. But man, the 14ers climbing them. If you think of the environment that I was in, I think it's one of the most profound things I've ever done. It's definitely one of the top 5 things that have been accomplished. Now, accomplishing all 58, that would be the Mount Olympus of life.
Yeah.
From my perspective and what my life has been about. But, you know, doing it with Evan, I can't speak more highly of that. You know, someone, and I've referenced it from episode 1, is like the connection to people in a place is so profound.
Yeah.
And Evan referenced it in his episode, like episode 12, I think, or something like that. He's not one that's like nudging you to get to the top of the hill or to the top of the summit.
Yeah.
It's like, you take your time to get there. If you want to stop and take photos, I'll stop and take photos with you. If you need, you know, guidance on how to traverse or climb this actual segment, if it's a scramble, like he'll lead that scramble, turn around and look back at you and say like, hey, let me guide you up here, take your left hand, go here and do this.
Yeah.
You know, that type of stuff is still so profound and rarely seen in the environment that we're in.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen 19 episodes now where people are still coming out and like telling us thank you for providing a space. When really I've stepped into their space and I say thank you for providing that to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like the universe is putting me in moments where gratitude is reciprocated on both ends.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be immediate, but we both feel the same way whenever I step into a realm and know that I'm cared for, respected, challenged as well, because like even in moments of the ascent, I was like, man, it's difficult. And with, you know, acclimation for elevation, all of those things, packing appropriately, like it starts to wear on you when you're constantly moving for 2.5 hours to get to an ascent. You're like, no matter how physically in shape you are, your mind starts to wander.
Yeah.
In the moments where Evan looks back and says, hey dude, you good? Do we need to take a break?
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking about? He's prodding these questions because I think he senses the silence that we naturally had as a great moment, but there's always a moment where you got to break that silence and say like, hey, I'm still here for you.
Yeah.
And he was able to do that fluently the entire time through. So, man, it was great. Like
That's awesome.
when I sent messages out to individuals and said like, hey, I can't wait to experience this with you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to experience this with you. I
Yeah.
can't wait to bring you here and us have this moment, because if it's anything like it was for me, it'll change your life.
Yeah.
It will,
That's
it
awesome.
will change everything. Every perspective you had on the difficulties or circumstances you're in the moment, when you're backcountry, the only thing you're with is your mind, your partner, and the environment. Dude, it can be one of the most humbling and lonely places ever, but it can be one of the most glorifying moments of self-identification that you can't find in an urban environment.
Yeah.
You can't replicate this on anything.
Yeah.
A park space that you'll find here. Special, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, admittedly, I think of, you know, the community that we're, you know, cultivating right now, not from like amplifying either of us, but to amplify others to say like, okay, I'm in Colorado or I'm in Philly, and I've never rowed, but I want to row. Let me hit up Brandon.
Right.
Or I've never gone climbing, or I've never, like, name the experience. And to have, like, again, kind of circling back to the video component, it's like no longer ambiguous. If I travel to Philly and I want to row for the first time, it's not me going and searching and saying like, which one of you are Brandon? It's like, Brandon,
Right.
help me, or like guide me through this experience, which I think is like really so amazing to see, and to see it come to fruition for people that have reached out and been like, yo, I met up with such and such, and they like took me on this bike ride, or we biked together, or we ran together, or we did this or that, as a byproduct of an episode.
Right.
But also more largely for stewardship, for people to feel confident and comfortable with you leading me on a trip, and knowing that you will steward this relationship and this opportunity safely and appropriately, which has been, again, kind of just like a byproduct of, what we're cultivating right now. So to see it in action for you personally has been like really cool, but to hear from others as well, to say like, thank you, just as you kind of like articulated, is also really awesome to see
For sure.
as well, which, I mean, I think we anticipated this when building out the show and like going to our ethos and our origin of like why we're doing this and our North Star, but to actually see it is like one thing, as opposed to conceptualizing it, which is so cool to see in real life, and you being a testament to doing it actually.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, any kind of recommendation that we've given on the show is true.
Yeah.
This is lived experience. I'm not just like hopping behind the camera or in front of the camera and saying, oh, go like climb with Evan because he's a great guy. It's like, no, go climb with Evan because I climbed with him. I did a 14-year with him under his guidance. And as a Black male in this space, I found it extremely welcoming for him to lead me and a guide. And that level of safety was there from start to finish.
Yeah.
So,
and we get no residuals.
yeah.
It's like we get nothing out of this.
No.
Outside of saying like, go to spaces that you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And like, here are a couple of people, that we have experience or had experiences with. Perhaps they can be one of those people. So it's like, not that we are amplifying others to get paid or anything. It's like, no, we just want you to experience outdoors and like to go outside and move, or like be active in some kind of capacity, perhaps with the people that we're amplifying, perhaps independently, just to like curate or like start curiosity for you to say like, okay, well, I live in Montana. Perhaps it's a little bit more challenging for me to go to Philadelphia to row, but I can jump out on like a river and kayak, or something, or just like run outside, do something. So it's been really cool to see the byproducts of our collective work and the community that we're curating and developing here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, as you're saying all of this, season 1 for us is coming to an end,
Yeah.
20. This is episode 20. We are wrapping season 1, at the conclusion of this.
Yeah.
And
That sounded very morbid.
I mean,
It's not to be morbid, like we're, I am like overjoyed. I'm like thrilled with what season 1 was, the 20 episodes, or this being the 20th.
Yeah.
The 20 episodes that we had, the people that we've amplified, the grace and the gratitude that's been shown, as you mentioned as well, from others to say like, just thank you for being here, to adjacently the people that have reached out as well. I think these first 20 episodes in season 1, this capsule has been everything that I had hoped for and more, for that. So it's on schedule, that we are wrapping at 20, which is great to get back to the board for season 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of that is to say, we're wrapping season 1, but this isn't the end of the brand.
Right.
We have been at the board for season 2 and have guests lined up, and we have structure already in place. So, we're taking a little bit of time off, but you can expect to hear from us in a reasonable time frame with content just as great as what we have now, with people from New York, from the West Coast, from down south. I don't want to give away too much sauce.
Like, hold up.
I can say New York because I feel like everyone knew it was a matter of time. But everyone else is staying in the bag right now. We can't let the the listenership and viewership know quite yet where we're going to be at. But yeah, what are some highlights of season 1 like that have stuck out with you? I know 20 episodes over the duration that we did them in, that's a lot to reference back. But anything that immediately kind of comes back to you and says like, hey, I will never forget this, or like, I consider this while I'm recreating. Like, what's something that you're referencing back into now?
I think episodically, I think of the capsule that we had at North Cascades with Boys in the Woods. I mean, that's just like the low-hanging fruit to say that will just always be present within the way in which I show up and the ways in which I engage. So that's an easy one. I mean, spin back to that if you haven't heard it. I mean, it's the episodes that we have there, and even in Fast Facts with me mentioning Leroy being my favorite episode for season 1, it's like pretty straightforward. Within that. Also, I think largely, and this goes back to like our ethos of like why we created this show, is I think back to Erica's episode. And I think about the vulnerability that she showed in that space. And I've known Erica for a good bit of time. But to be vulnerable and to share, you know, things in which I was still learning about her in the space in which we've curated, I thought was extremely powerful. And I think that will be excellent for others who are consuming to say, like, I'm going through this, I may be struggling with this, I'm encountering this challenge or this difficulty, but I know that there is a way, or I know there's an opportunity for things to improve. So that was really, and outside of you, I mean, Erica's like up there with like the people that I actually know, like personally know and have personal significant relationships with. So for that to be shared within that space, I thought was the reason why we created this show. So to see that and come to life was really, really powerful for me at that moment in time. And then I got a couple. I mean, again, also hearkening back to like a little more recent. So I just went with like North Cascades far in our start with Erica, and then more recently with Brandon. That episode I thought was gold. For her to share at the extent in which she shared, and then to close it out with the gratitude that she showed us, knowing and us knowing what they are developing there, and not developing, what they have at BLJ Rowing, to like be so humble and so gracious at that moment to say like, thank you for amplifying us. It's like, what? It's like, do you not know? Like, she knows what she has there. I mean, people like within the rowing community knows what she has there as well. But to be the first, you know, to amplify, first platform to amplify her in that capacity, I thought was just staggering to me. But for her to take that as an opportunity, but also to say thank you, was like huge for me. So those are kind of like within each of the, I would say, phases of the show that were really significant to me from an experiential, but also from like an episodic goal. You gave me this, now I'm gonna like constantly think about this and incorporate that. And then also Kelly, shout out to Kelly for dropping in the last 10 seconds of the episode.
VP of operations.
Shout out to Kelly. If you haven't seen that gold, spin back to that episode and go past the credits. So you'll see that.
10 seconds.
But what about you? I mean, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, because I think it'll show up to the listeners the ways in which we interpret things differently. Being that we are identical twins, being that we do experience a lot of the same things from a like physical standpoint, but the ways in which we interpret them, I think, are different. So I'm excited to hear your response to this.
Not to single out any episode as in ranking above any of the others. They were all phenomenal episodes.
They're like all of our children. We love them all.
All of the experiences were extremely breathtaking and important to the maturation of myself, but to others and the environment and the community. I just want to kind of recognize that. I can say some that like very directly spoke to me. Brandon, obviously, I think Being able to visit Philly at the frequency that I do for professional work, seeing her as a staple in the community and doing a lot of intentional work that other row houses are not doing, and the longevity of, you may want to just be a recreational rower, or you may want to finalize a dream and be a collegiate coach, or, you know, a USA athlete. All that can be done during your time with her, which I think is just amazing to think of. So just want to give kudos there. I think, like you said, a lot of the statements, facts, thoughts shared in that interview, timeless. You know, they'll live forever. Think Raheem's episode as well dropped a lot of gems too. I think just as a creator and being in the space of like wanting to tinker and design stuff myself, or conceptualize a product that's actually like physical and can be touched, was something that I've always like pondered in my brain. But hearing him talk through the sequence of like, hey, this is how it started, this is how it went, gaps in between, all of that was really amazing. So shout out to him. Appreciate you on that. I mean, my brother CJ, man, that's my guy, man.
I was like,
that's my guy.
he's gonna say it. Yeah.
That's my guy, man. That's
When's he gonna go say it?
That's my guy, bro. That's the homie. Yeah. Couldn't wait to sit down and chat with him. You know, we've connected offline multiple times now, and then it's just, you know, moments that we both experienced that, you know, you'll never forget. You know, like I can reference back some stuff that we did as a child, and I'm like, man, that was special. That was awesome. That made an impact on me. That was an experience that the whole world got to see. You know, that literally in the interview, I'm sitting there like, dude, this is something I'll never forget. You know, the backdrop, the people we were with, the experiences we had collectively, dude, I'll never forget that. So be able to capture that on camera it's crazy. It's crazy. And the follow-ups that like have been accomplished. Which is crazy. Like those things that were said have been done. So that's one. I gotta shout out Chastity and the hometown team. Like I always love putting the homies on. Chastity has been a huge impact on myself personally. Again, like anyone that's willing to listen to a concept or an idea, you know, again, give that 2% effort of saying like, hey, tinker with this. You got a greater idea, man, you can't beat that. It's great people. So shout out to Chastity. I mean, not to sound sacrilegious, but your episode too. It's always great to get to know people deeper. And I think for us, 30 years together, you know, obviously I know a lot about you, but like sometimes you don't get the full perspective because again, I'm only seeing from my end. I'm like, oh, I interpreted it this way. And the fact that you think you sauced me every time we was out there.
Honestly, like I feel like I don't have to justify this, but I'm going to
young Sauce Walker.
I don't have to justify this, but I'm going to say this for the people that don't actually know where the two the two of us are.
Or should Gucci Mane don't get lost in the sauce?
Chill out. So
that's too much sauce.
So I'm largely in the running space. So I would attribute that to largely the W's that I was acquiring and stacking in side-by-side races. Marcus wants the slower, more interpretive route of backcountry experiences and being able to go at his own pace. So I think the direction of our careers, I think largely further influenced. But
every time I hear something about our running experience, I think of the GIF with Floyd Mayweather when he's like throwing money. It's like, and it's like someone dubbed over and put L's, and it's like L
to you,
L.
pass them to you.
That's how I feel every time we talk about running. I'm like, bro, I don't even want to talk about this anymore.
No, but that's unique though, man. Like the just as you mentioned, the experiences that we both shared and the ways in which we interpreted them, which
Yeah.
is really unique. I feel like, not putting words in your mouth, but I have a special, and this is a good segue for us, I think, if you're ready to move on. If not, we can like dial it back. But I feel like I will always have like a special appreciation for, you mentioned Hometown Heroes.
Yeah.
I feel like I would always have a special appreciation for Elisa, and the ways in which she showed up, for, not for us, but for her, within the first episode, to be just like so present. Like, and I still spin back to that episode, with just like her presence, just like her being like, this is me, I'm here.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty good, which she didn't say that, but
She is.
let it not be mistaken, she's quite good. And for, the ways in which she's like cultivating community as well, I like got to give her a shout out for it. So episode 1 within that space is always going to play like a significant like stamp for, in my mind as well.
Yeah. And I think just like kudos to her as well, as we had a concept and a structure for our show, but it was only a testament between me and you.
Yeah.
So interviewing her was like leaning very much on the fact that I had a relationship with her, like know her very well or decently.
Yeah.
And, you coming in and getting to know Elisa, like kind of on the fly.
Yeah.
And then sitting down and having an interview, and her to accommodate that was so amazing. But to even kind of reference that, I can't wait for round 2. Like, I'm super excited. We announced on our Instagram page, and I've kind of given the details already, but there's more to come. But to go ahead and hold the date, September 30th, that is a Saturday, 7 p.m. We are doing a live show at Patagonia Pittsburgh. That is on Walnut Street. And Elisa's our guest. The focus and intention there is to bring, the SYO community together. Pittsburgh, Northeast, if you want to travel in and come and kick it with us, come and do that.
Yep.
But the focus there is to really bring community, to see community, interact with community, because we've had a lot of conversations. I can speak for myself, of people reaching out to me and saying like, oh, well, when are you going to do an event? Or when's the next Pogo bike ride for Community Day? Or when is the next bike ride with Shaquaya? Like, go ask her. She'll be there. I'm going to continue to push out that information on my personal channel, on my business channel, on the podcast channel. Anytime that, Brother Lloyd has a community ride on the 30th, we're going to push that out and say like, go kick it with him. But this is a time for you to connect with community, see community, in hopes that if you're interested in dabbling in a space, like maybe backpacking, hiking, running isn't really your thing right now, but you're trying to find that community, you're going to see them in person.
Yep.
Tap in, meet them, forge relationships and community, and we're going to continue to grow and thrive together, especially with the people that I know are going to be there. So, and just to, again, kind of tease it out, we are going to have some pre-events before that we're going to be announcing here shortly. If you're trying to learn how to climb for the first time, tap in with us. We got some stuff coming up.
Yep.
Tap in with us at the Patagonia store. Doors are going to open at 6:15. So if you want to come and kick it with us, meet myself, Elisa, Derrick, other episode guests, community members, there's going to be time for you to come and kick it with us, get to know us, and spend time with us. So that's September 30th in a very succinct way, but there's more to come.
I can't wait for that, because I am excited. We've created a following of people that inherently started with it being people in our network, of our friends that our values align. They like outdoors, they like being and recreating, or they have some kind of intersection of identity as it relates to being outdoors or being Black, which now we have it's no longer just your and our friends, so to speak, that follow us and that connect with us, which is cool to see. But I'm also excited to connect with those people directly at the event.
For sure.
And to meet face to face and connect in that capacity, and just like hang out. So while it is, of course, a live show, we are recording it as well. So you'll be able to see if you don't tap in or if you don't show up in person. We want you to, but if you don't or can't, or if you're on the West Coast, you'll be able to still view it on the YouTube channel, still be able to hear it on all of the platforms as well. And all proceeds benefiting Elisa's film that she alluded to in episode 1, Guerreras. So please, support, even if it's just donating to the event. Of course, this is a ticketed event, so if you do show up, great. But even donations support. So whatever we can do to amplify others, as mentioned, Marcus and I get no residuals off this. We are trying to support other people that are really doing really cool things or experimenting or leading in a capacity. So please contribute in some kind of capacity. There'll be plenty of opportunities to do that, whether ticketing, donating, you name it. So find yourself across that spectrum in some kind of capacity. But again, can't wait. September 30th, you'll find all the details on our website, sincerelyyouroutdoors.com, on our Instagram, Sincerely Yours Outdoors, YouTube, all those above. So just tap in, stay connected with us. We're excited to see the viewership face to face.
For sure.
Or people that haven't heard of us, or just trying to connect and hear more about climbing as well. We want to see and hear from you too. So we're excited for the event, the live capsule
for sure
at Patagonia.
Yeah, first live show. Won't be the last.
Certainly won't be the last.
And I just want to circle back and say 100% of proceeds are going to Elisa. Like, this is extremely important to us to step into this space and support community members that are doing great work. If there's any way that we can do that creatively, we want to take charge in that. So this is a great opportunity to do so. So $15 for a ticket. There's going to be raffles as well. Those will be available for anyone, East Coast, West Coast, wherever you're located at. We'll have those prizes up for you to raffle a ticket for and show up. If you don't want to, buy a ticket from us and participate, go to the GoFundMe page on Elisa's profile, donate directly to the final editing of her movie and tap in. I think that's the easiest way if you, again, aren't an in-person person. If you're more of a, hey, I just want to stay at home and listen from the comfort of my home, still ways to financially support. So keep that in mind.
If you are a person that wants to support other creators in the outdoors, this is your opportunity. Of course, you tap into the show where we amplify and broadcast people that are doing just that. But to support someone directly, if you are trying to support creators, if you're trying to support Black and brown people in spaces of recreation and outdoors, this is your opportunity to do so, not only with your dollars, but also with your presence. So this is an opportunity, and we are, this is your call to action. Sign up. This sounds like we're plugging the show, but we're plugging Elisa and her works. We are just a conduit for amplifying that. So encourage you to sign up, to donate, to contribute, and to be there September 30th.
For sure. For sure. So I think there's kind of two main points before we wrap. I know we talked about it today, just kind of offline, but the future of the show, man. Man, I'm super excited just to kind of tease out some things that are going to be forthcoming for us. I mean, we spent like 2 or 3 months trying to plan this live show that, we're super excited about holding a lot of that information back and finally being able to release that September 1st. But I know there's some stuff on the horizon that maybe we don't want to give the full details about, but just say like, hey, we're still creatively designing some things that just know season 3 might even be a little bit different. So anything that comes to mind for you initially? Again, don't give all the tea, but
of course. No, it's what you see season 1 is going to be the bedrock and the foundation of what you see season 2. and it will be what you see season 3, and so on and so forth. So the foundation of the show and the content and the fabric of the works is always going to remain the same. I think the scale, I think the volume and the consistency of such is going to change for others that are viewing the show and tapping in with us, regardless of if it was from episode 1 or from episode 25. It's like your starting point. With that in mind, I think broadly, things that we can tease, broadly.
Yeah.
Live experiences.
Yep.
We already mentioned that. Even further outside of live shows of like in a storefront or in a, I think we'll have more live communal experiences to where we can engage the community that we have, first and foremost. As mentioned, consistency there. And additionally, I think we'll have additional opportunities to amplify others and what you will see in season 2. Thematically, I think we'll see seasonal appropriate type of opportunities and recreational activities. Of course, we've had that in season 1, but from a calendar year, seasonally, you can expect that for this upcoming capsule that we'll have, which will start later this year, run through winter approximately. So you can speculate as to what sports you'll see there and highlighted there. I think those are the things that I want to tease at this point in time. And I'll leave it there before I give too much.
Yeah.
I want to give MJ secret sauce.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what I was hoping for you to do. It's just like
not give too much.
Yeah, like
don't overshare.
Very broad. Echoing all of that. That's baseline expectation for season 2. For us, season 2 is pretty much well planned.
Yeah,
we're already in season 3 mode. Like, who are we gonna confirm at this point? Because we have a guest list of 3 figures at this point. So I'm excited to be able to start sharing again these amazing stories.
Correct.
At a higher frequency with, again, more regionally based stuff.
Yep.
We've been around literally from East Coast to West Coast, but there will be more to come. So I'm excited about that.
I think overarchingly you can expect from us.
Yeah.
You can have expectations from Marcus and I. You can have expectations for this platform, for this podcast, for this show. And correct me if I'm wrong, that's what I want us to cultivate. I want you to enter, as a viewer, as a listener, to enter this space with expectations from us. Of I'm going to get this, or I'm going to experience this, and us deliver.
Yeah.
I think the shows, no slight to anyone, the shows, the episodes, the books that don't have direction or don't have expectations get tuned out.
Yeah.
So we are cultivating that. Expect high quality product, as we mentioned in the prelude.
Yeah.
Expect a high quality product and expect us to be strategic and have a direction. We're talking about season 2. Know that we are already having and have had conversations about season 3, season 4, season 5.
Yeah.
So this isn't just this looks like a good play. Let's just do this and hope that for the best. It's no, there are expectations. And you can expect that from us as a listener and as a community member.
Yeah.
I hate to say listener. You're you're part of us.
Yeah.
You're a community member as being a listener to SYO. Is there anything else that you want to share?
About season 2 and beyond, no.
Okay.
Not right now.
Mark is very guarded, close to
calculated.
the hip.
Yeah.
It's you see this manifests in 2 different ways. You're don't overshare.
Yeah.
And then you're just not sharing anything.
Hey.
Yeah, you're close to the chest.
You got 3 things on the list.
That's the personality type.
So
That's the personality difference.
You got 3. We're good. Yeah.
So my inbox is gonna be flooded. People are gonna be like, Derrick, tell us more.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to try not to tell them.
There's more. But
Yeah.
3. Let's stick with 3 right
Not
now.
going
Yeah,
to you.
Yeah.
What's your next adventure before we give shout outs?
Oh yeah. As we sit here in less than 8 hours, I will be flying to San Francisco. Excited about that. Going to spend a week in California, visiting 5 national parks, doing my backcountry life again, all over again, which I'm excited about. Can't wait to, again, just experience things, some for the first time, some for the second time, and be at peace. Literally nothing better than knowing I can't use my phone because there's no service, or knowing that this back road is going to lead me to my campsite where I am away from people, in nature. Only thing I'm going to see is elk, bears, or like,
Which scares some people. To think
yeah,
that
which
could be the
scares some
reality.
people.
You're
but-
saying so nonchalantly.
But it's like, from a larger perspective, bears are more scared of you than you are of them. So it's like, I approach that with sincerity and calm and relaxation, knowing that with adequate preparation and food storage, I'm safe and they're safe. Best way to put it. That's literally the best way to put it. But
That's a PSA.
but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then that's the next adventure. And then the next adventure after that, which I can't wait for, is going back to Denver and making my way through Utah. And
Yeah.
can't wait to mountain bike. Oh, baby. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be chef's kiss.
Love Utah. Love Denver. Love them both. Those are 2 great places to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, anytime I can rent a camper van and go from Denver to literally the westernmost tip of Utah and then jet north to Salt Lake City, it's nothing
Good
better.
times.
So,
I hear you. Sounds like some
So what about you?
some good adventures
oh
upcoming.
yeah, can't wait. I mean, we're going to be taking some too. So,
yeah.
well, we won't give that to you.
We won't share that. Upcoming for me, race season.
Yeah.
So next 6 weeks, I got a couple of races, couple here in Pittsburgh. Running the Lululemon 10K in Tucson, so I'll be in Arizona in November. Likely extend that to enjoy a little bit of Tucson as well. And then that takes us into December, which is it's ski time for me.
Oh yeah.
So
wait.
we'll be skiing.
Yeah.
So that'll be, it seems like a long time away, but it's already September. So that's like right around the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my year as it is planned at this very moment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, while you're in Arizona, jet up north to the Grand Canyon. Oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to get that. I mean, you can compare it to the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon too. So.
All right. You got shout outs? Get your shout outs out.
You know, shout out my mama them. Yeah, I mean, honestly, shout out to the SYO community. Like everyone that's been tapping in and sending me a message and saying like, I love what you're doing, or keep going, or sending a recommendation for someone that they were like, hey, you need to interview them because they're a great fit. Shout out to you. You know, that means a lot to me that we're doing something that, one, is so authentic that you are inclined to reach out and share a note or sentiment or a connection. So I want to say shout out to that. Shout out to the eternal being, man. It's been like quite the challenge for me. Like grasping the impact that's being made. You know, it's like overwhelming. And sometimes sitting in humility has been some of the best moments of my life. So a lot of these trips are more of relaxation for self, but it's all reflection on like what I've been blessed with, or what you've been blessed with, or like the feedback that we've received. So I'm just humbled and thankful for all of that. Sometimes it's hard to put in words, but the gratitude that I have for people that are just willing to spend time with us or nudge us either on the show, off the show, or in my day-to-day life that are willing to take something else on or allow me to pass the baton so I could have free time to go down this path. Like, gratitude to you. And whatever, the full supportive team, like obviously the two behind the camera, giving up time of their life through some major boss moves that have been made. Want to say thanks for that. Especially as we enter into season 2 and other spaces. So those are the big shout outs as we wrap, just putting the past 6 months into words as I reflect back. Those would be my shout outs and moments of gratitude.
I think I echo all of those things, in addition to the guests that we've had, like just sharing their time, sharing their story. It's like vulnerable stories that are being shared. And, as you mentioned, I don't want to omit, being transparent and saying thank you. So shout out to everyone that's been on the show to this point, all that have agreed to say yes and that have committed to moving forward as well in the future. I also think of all the people that have just been as you alluded to as well, that have just been yo, keep going, or that have passed along emails, texts, Instagram messages of you all are on to something, keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And then as always, just the person that's listening. I mean, it is hard to have people's ear, nowadays. So the fact that people tap in and tune in with us for an hour on a Monday or at any point in time, to give up an hour of their day at any point in time throughout the week, is significant. So I don't ever want to neglect that in saying thank you, and to assume that that's going to come, and to assume that we'll always have your ear, or always have your attention, or always have something to say that you want to hear. So, to say thank you to that, I don't want to neglect that opportunity to say thank you. So thank you for listening. And then all the people that have supported as well. I mean, I'm thinking of brands. I'm thinking about people that have been you can use this space, or don't worry about this rental fee. You can just come on in. So thank you to all of those people. And that's manifested in the 20 episodes that you've seen, all the backdrops that you see, that people are just you can shoot here, with no questions asked. So I would say in short order, those are my list of people and entities to say thank you to. So excited for next season. Of course, success isn't linear, nor is that our expectation. But we're moving informedly and intentionally,
For sure.
with this next season, and excited for all that's to come. So
For sure.
that's my list of shout outs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, until season 2, right?
Hey, it's right around the corner, man. We'll still be active.
Yeah.
We'll still be tapping in, creating content. So.
Tap in September 30th.
Yep.
See you at the live show. See you at season 2. We'll of course continue to stay engaged. You can always follow us on social. That's where you'll get the most live and up to date happenings for Sincerely Yours Outdoors. So tap in with us there. Subscribe to YouTube, and then share. Be stewards. I mean, we're talking about stewards of people that have connected us and connected others, but be a steward of this work. Yeah. So share outdoor spaces with people. Create environments in which you welcome others. Share this platform, things of that nature. And we'll tap in with you on season 2.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Until next time.
Peace.